Joining me now here on the Rich Eisen Show is one of the stars of Luther, the Fallen Son, available for streaming today only on Netflix. One of the highest grossing actors in the history of cinema. Joining us here on the Rich Eisen Show, Andy Serkis. How you doing, Andy?
Hey, Rich, how you doing? Yeah, good, thanks.
What a pleasure to meet you. What a pleasure to meet you in person or over Zoom. What an incredible movie this is. First of all, it's great to see Luther back in action. I'm just wondering how much of a fan you are of the television series and now being part of the film here, Andy.
I was a huge fan when the series came, when it started off, and always have been. And Idris is such a formidable actor, and in that role, it's his role. He's born to play that part, and he owns it so totally. So I was thrilled to come on board, for the movie version of it, which is the great thing about the movie is that you don't actually need to have seen the TV series. It's a standalone piece in its own right, but it'll delight the fans who've grown up with the series too. So it works both ways.
It definitely touches all the touch points of the Luther television series, and then seeing you in it is just also, to use a word, a delight. Although I don't know what that means about me as a psychological human being if I say your character delights, Andy.
Yeah. That's a very good point, because I nearly didn't take this part because it was so dark, and I just thought, do I really want to spend time inside this person's head? Life's complicated enough as it is, but I literally wanted to have a shower and throw the script in the bin when I read it. It was that bad. And then I thought, you know what, this is actually a villain of our times, because although he is a monster, he's a psychopath and a killer, as you say, but part of the monster is the technological world that we have all completely handed over responsibility to, which is of course the internet, and the way that he uses that to manipulate and to surveil people and watch them in their own homes using their own devices. It's a very, very kind of, why I actually went for the role in the end was because of the debate, I think, about technology and how we've become powerless to, and sort of given up almost responsibility there.
Well, studying your filmography would take my full day, Andy. So excuse me for just asking directly. Is this the first time you've worked with Idris Elba, or you have worked with him before?
No, it's actually the first time, although our paths have crossed over the years and we've always wanted to work together. And I think we're both similar in the sense that, as well as being actors, we have other strings to our bow. I direct and produce, and he produces, and he's a DJ, and we have lots of. I think we really respect each other as sort of storytellers and communicators of ideas and so on and so forth. So it was really great to finally actually act opposite each other.
Well, and so many folks here in America, Andy, got to meet him through the television show The Wire. And then we're absolutely stunned that he's actually not American and he's not from Baltimore, and that's how good he is. And now, having a chance to meet you and see that you're not a psychopath or a Gollum or a primate, it's pretty neat to see. So, how did you first get started in the business? How did you first get rolling, Andy?
I started actually at college doing visual arts, and I had no intention of becoming an actor. And then in the first year at college, you had to do a subsidiary kind of course. And so there was a very strong theatre studies department, and I started making props and designing posters for the shows. And gradually over the course of the first year, I started acting in little roles in theatre. And then by the end of the first year, I was playing a lead role, and I went, that's it. This is what I want to do. It was a big sort of epiphany. And then I started doing a lot. In the early years, I just did tons and tons of theatre, then started working in TV slowly, and then in film, and then come 2000s and the big canvas films kind of started opening up with Lord of the Rings.
And Lord of the Rings was your first big break? Is that what you would say in that regard? What would you
certainly? I mean, I've done a lot of British independent movies, but that was certainly kind of on the global sort of front. That was definitely a seismic shift, as it were.
I imagine so. So on this program, Andy Serkis here on the Rich Eisen Show. Sometimes I'll have to mention who's here because we also simulcast on the radio. We do a segment called Celebrity True or False, certainly with folks like yourself who have been in so many incredible pop culture touchstone films and television shows. to cover your entire landscape, where I ask you something's true or false based on something that we've read, if you don't mind playing along with me, Andy Serkis.
Okay, absolutely.
Celebrity true or false here with Andy Serkis.
Celebrity true or false?
You can't handle the truth.
Let's start with Lord of the Rings. You based the voice of Gollum, true or false, Andy Serkis, on the sound of your cats when they made a sound of coughing up fur balls. Is that true or false?
That is 100% true. Yeah, I was looking for something that was a physical action that also, you know, that would influence the vocal sound. And Diz, our cat, walked in and coughed up a fur ball in front of me, and I went, that is it. You know, that's the Gollum sound. So
when you pitched that, when you pitched your Gollum sound, did you have to explain where it came from, or how did that sell that? I didn't pitch it. Because I had to audition, and the thing is, a lot of people think, oh, that it was a kind of a voice. In fact, it was described to me first as a voice acting role, but it wasn't. And I remember crawling up onto the chair in front of the casting director, and then starting to talk as Gollum, and a very prototype version of it, you know. So it started off with the coughing up of the fur ball. So it was a, you know, and that became Gollum, you know, and so I was doing that, and they were kind of like, this is weird. This is so strange. And then Peter Jackson saw it and went, oh yeah, he's the guy. You know, sold. That's what he said. Sold. And I guess I am mandated to ask, because I talk to my dogs all the time. Did you ever talk to Diz the cat in that voice and communicate with your cat?
In that voice? No, I don't think I've ever done that. Although we have two cats. This was a long time ago. We have two new cats, so we do talk to our family, talks to them as if they're human beings. So we're a bit weird like that.
Very good. Is it true or false, Andy Serkis, that you own one of two prop rings used in Lord of the Rings? The other went to Elijah Wood, who played Frodo Baggins. Is that true or false?
That's 100%. Peter Jackson gave it to me on my birthday in 2003. When we were doing the final pickups for the Return of the King, and the very day he asked me to play King Kong, and he presented me with the ring from the Two Towers, and it was an amazing gift, amazing thing.
And where is it now? Is it?
Well, I can't tell you that.
Okay.
I mean, it's hidden in a cave.
No, I don't want to get you in trouble. I guess then let me just ask a macro question before moving on. Is what is it like to play a performance capture actor? I cannot imagine the physical and the mental that's required for you to go and become another being that you can't really even see at the time. I mean, what is that endeavor like?
Well, it's really interesting. You know, a lot of people have asked me this question, and I have to explain it in terms of the acting process. When you become a character, you know, my way into a character, you're building a psychological profile, a physicality, a vocal, you know, the voice, you know, comes out of the understanding of who that person is, and where that character carries his pain or tension or whatever. So when you play a motion capture or performance capture, as you rightly call it, because performance capture is the capturing of the entire performance, the facial expressions, the body, everything all at once, and audio. It's actually like wearing you're wearing a digital manifestation of the character. So the process of acting is no different to any other form of acting where I have to be wearing a costume and makeup. You're still getting inside that character's head, mind, soul, body, etc. But it's just it's instead of putting on a costume and makeup, you're manifest as with digital costume and makeup. That's the easiest way to explain it. But so there's no specific. I mean, obviously, if you're playing an ape, then you have to research apes and you learn how to move and you know, behave as an ape. But there's no. What I'm saying is, it's not a particular type of acting as such. It's acting both sides, you know, like conventionally and then with a mocap suit on.
It's remarkable. It truly is. I've got a few more celebrity true or false concepts here for the great Andy Serkis here on the Rich Eisen Show. True or false, the Coldplay song "Adventure of a Lifetime" and the now 1.4 billion downloaded, viewed on YouTube music video of "Adventure of a Lifetime" of Coldplay. The band members are all chimpanzees, and you were the performance capture consultant with the idea of the video born out of you, Andy Serkis, running into Chris Martin on an airplane. Is that true?
That's 100% true. I bumped into Chris. Now, Chris is also a very, very close friend of a director I made a film with called Matt Whitecross directed me in a film called Sex and Drugs and Rock and Roll about Ian Dury, the famous proto-punk, singer of the 1970s. And he had shot all of their videos. He grew up with Chris Martin and all of Coldplay at college. So Matt and he were very close. But I was sitting in the plane, and he tapped me on the back and he said, "Look, Andy, we're about to shoot our new video. We don't really know what we're doing, but we really fancy the idea of using performance capture." So I said, "Well, what are you thinking?" And he said, "We don't know." And so I said, "Well, look, come to the Imaginarium, which is our studios." Okay. And then we'll put any number of different avatars up that you can play. And he went. And he looked at all these different creatures and beings that you can sort of off the peg, plug in, and then sort of get into the suit and control. And he just went, "No, I want to be a chimpanzee." And then so this whole thing, and then so they came in the morning, decided they want to be chimpanzees, and we shot the whole thing. And Matt, my friend who directed Sex and Drugs and Rock and Roll, directed it, and I consulted a little bit about movement and so on, and then it was all done in one day. And then of course the animation process takes a while to complete, but it was just so it was just so kind of in the moment, and you arrive at the end of the day, and we'd shot the whole thing. It was amazing.
So if he didn't tap you on the shoulder on an airplane, that video that's been again downloaded 1.4 billion times may not have been made, is what you're saying.
I think that's probably true.
Oh my gosh. A couple more here for you. True or false, Andy Serkis? You cracked a rib on the first take of shooting your fight scene as Ulysses Claw with Chadwick Boseman in the Black Panther. Is that true?
That is absolutely true.
What happened?
It was just an unfortunate kind of moment where Ulysses Claw I got up quickly, a little too quickly, and Chad was coming the other way too quickly with his knee, and it went straight in. And this was on the first take. It was all night shoots. I'd not long been off a plane. I'd flown in, and it was kind of one of the climactic scenes where he captures Ulysses Claw before he takes him for interrogation. And yeah, literally the first take, I felt it go, and it was like, oh no, I've got to do this all night, and I've broken a rib. And I didn't say anything to anyone because I knew that we had to shoot this. So there was no way that we couldn't do it. And I had to just gently say to Chad, can you just make me take it back a bit, just a little bit.
Take it back a bit. Yeah.
And we then proceeded to shoot it all night long. And I was like, by the end of it, I was so done. Oh my God.
What was it like shooting with him, Chadwick?
Oh, it's such a sad loss. He's such an incredible human being, and was such a great leader on that film, and such a spiritual man, and kind of the energy that he created around himself, and therefore the way it affected the whole shoot was extraordinary. It was a real honor to work with him. I can't quite believe he's not around.
Me too. Last one for you. True or false, Andy Serkis? All the prison factory machines in Andor were real, and you were actually assembling parts on those scenes in Andor. Is that true too?
100% true. The most amazing set. I mean, and it works so fantastically well. And all of the crews, all of the actors and supporting artists had to learn. There was a lot of rehearsal to make all that stuff come together and look as if we've done it a billion times, So it's really thrilling when you get to walk onto a real set that functions and it's tangible. Everything's tangible. It's rather than it being a volume or green screen. It really affects you, and those sets really made you feel desensitized as well. With walking around on bare feet on metal plates all day long, and those paper suits. It really did remove your identity. It was so weird what it did to you.
I bet. So, and the floors were not really electrified then, right, Andy?
That's a flat one. They did.
Okay. We stopped at that. And so the last we saw of your characters, you turn to Andor and say, "I can't swim," as you were all diving to safety. Spoiler alert. Does that mean maybe you survive the fall and the swim, Andy? I mean, is that possible for a season 2? What do we think here?
I always say never say never, quite frankly. So I really don't know what's going to happen, whether or not he'll return, but But I like it when they leave it open like that.
I do, and I'd love
your always a possibility.
Well, I would love that. I would truly love that. And I've enjoyed this chat as well. You're awesome in this film of Luther. Again, it's called Luther: The Falling Sun, available for streaming today on Netflix. You're just awesome in everything that you do. This has been an absolute pleasure to chat with you. Man. And I know I've kept you a long time, but we're also a sports show. Are you a sport fan in any way, shape?
Yeah.
Which
Football, support Arsenal, and we're going to win the league. So
Okay, so Arsenal's your team.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and my sons as well. They're massive Arsenal fans. Yeah.
Wonderful. What a pleasure to meet you, Andy Serkis. Thanks again for your time. Congratulations on Luther being as awesome and you being awesome in it. I hope we get to do this in person next time. Thank you.
Yeah, that would be great. Okay, look forward to it, Richard. Take care.
That's Andy Serkis. Follow him at Andy Serkis on Twitter and Instagram right here on The Rich Eisen Show.
Catch The Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.